Up? It is time for another episode of the Bronze Room. We are starting right now, coming in live, not only from Los Angeles, but also all the way from Utah. We got a special guest in the house. My name, of course, is Chris. You're joined by our beautiful co-host, Joy. And like I said, we have a great guest in the building today, Duran. Welcome to the Bronze Room, brother.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome, Duran.
Yeah.
Thanks for
And I
having me.
apologize for my lack of visuals. I switched from my desktop to my laptop to ensure that my connection would continue throughout the podcast, and something's going on with this camera. So I'm not sure exactly what's up, but maybe I can get it online before the end of this episode. If not, it's all good. Y'all got my lovely voice online. And so
Yeah, we feel your presence.
without any further ado, on this day in history, Joy,
Yes.
why don't you let us know what's up? What happened on this day in history?
Okay, so on this very day, October 2nd, which by the way, I love October. I don't know why, but I love that month. But on this day today, it's considered International Nonviolence Day. This day was declared a national day and pretty much in dedication and remembrance after Mahatma Gandhi. Today is actually his birthday as well, October 2nd. So, well, I don't know. They probably revere this in India, but a lot of people acknowledge this day. I never knew about this day until recently. And, I kind of have mixed feelings about it. I'm like, yeah, that's cute. Nonviolence, that's something that he represented. But I have also read some things as well where this nonviolent being also had feelings about people that are my ancestors, that we were dirty. I'm like, what? Anyway, I don't want to take it to a dark and grim place, but yeah, I do think that this would be a special day that more people should actually acknowledge, considering that we have so much damn violence going on in the world. It's crazy at this point. Sometimes I'm like, just please let me just anyway. But yeah, so I think that this is a nice day to touch on, just because we do have so much going on. Maybe this is a holiday or something that people should actually celebrate and make some things happen. But yeah, on this day today, that was the day.
Yeah, that would be nice if we can embrace that holiday, or the symbolism and the meaning, the significance of this day more wholeheartedly. But like you did say, Gandhi did have some contradictions in his as a whole. A very non-peaceful brother. He fought for the I guess the emancipation and the independence of his country, India, from the British colony.
Yes,
as we were touching on a few episodes ago with the death of Queen Elizabeth. The colonization of the world under the British crown has been a topic of discussion, and Gandhi fought hard for his people to be free from that. So we salute him on that front. But
yeah, again, I can't take that away from him. Yeah, that's amazing.
A big accomplishment, especially under the non-violent approach. That's super unique and super admirable. But like you said, there's got to be a little asterisk next to his name, because apparently he wasn't in favor of peace for everybody, or at least freedom for everybody.
Right.
He had those very disparaging comments of our African ancestors, not ancestors because they still alive. They are our peers of our African brothers that are still on the motherland. And I'm sure if he was talking about foundational Black Americans, he'd probably feel the same way.
Uncivilized and dirty. I was like, ooh,
yeah, that's a problem.
You got me. Yeah, but you know what? Rest in peace. And that's it.
Yeah. Ron, do you have any feelings or comments on that?
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about the racial things that were mentioned regarding Gandhi's opinions regarding African people. The one thing I do know about Gandhi, he did preach nonviolence. although he had ill feelings towards Africans, as far as I know, he hasn't really done anything violent towards the African people. But I obviously I'm not in it. And and as far as the African comment is concerned, I've actually traveled internationally, and I'm sure Gandhi's opinions about, well, there's a good chance that his opinions about Africans also are associated with African Americans. But from my travels around the world, people see African Americans as American, and they actually hold American Black people in a higher light than white American people. I've been to places like
As they
Italy.
should.
Yes, and I've been to places like Italy where, we're kind of losing our soul music. We're really losing our culture when it comes to Black American culture. A lot of us don't really understand like our old soul music and the relationship between old music and today's current music. When I went to Italy, there was a pizza parlor I went to, and all around the walls were like Barry White. It was the Temptations. It was the DeBarges. It was
The bars? The
Yeah, it was
bars
the
is in the same class as
yeah, it was the Barges, it was Patti LaBelle, the Jacksons. It
okay.
had like
Okay.
were like mint condition. It had like the
Okay.
guy. People around the world, when they see us, they don't see us through American eyes. They see us through like they see Black Americans as like talented people, and they really, they'll like hear people just listen to the music, but they'll listen to the music, they'll research the culture, they do all this stuff, and they'll tell you stuff about history that my grandmother would have known about. So it's just unique. I can't say that much as far as like India, but I have been to the Middle East, and Middle East they love African Americans as well. But they do treat Africans different than they treat African Americans. I will say that. Like when you go travel, they're trying to see, are you African or are you like American?
Wow.
They do that.
Wow.
What? Okay.
I mean, I'll take it.
Yeah, and if you're an American sister,
Wow.
most likely those dudes in Italy gonna be on you. I mean, I'm just keeping it 100. They'll like, once they realize you're American, they'll be like, oh.
Okay, make me some spaghetti.
Duran, say no more, bro. I'm booking my trip. I'm booking my trip right now.
It is a different vibe, man. You should get out because people treat you way differently when you go
I've
overseas.
heard that. I've
Yeah.
heard that. I mean, I went to Turks and Caicos, but I mean like somewhere where it's just like a culture. Like I want to go to Japan. That's another place that I want to visit and just see like what it's like. They thought my friend was Nelly out there. I was like, what? They thought you was Nelly? How?
You see, Janet Jackson got married to that ultra billionaire because he was like, oh, he just liked Black. He's like,
he was Janet Jackson.
He could have got anybody. He could have got a blonde Hollywood star. He could have got, the baddest white woman he wanted, but he wanted, so you got,
right.
Okay. Give me an
Okay.
idea of how we're seen around in other places.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We do.
Well, that alludes to just so much that we've talked about in the past few episodes. That alludes to the fact that, as I referenced Herodotus, from back in the Greek, the ancient Greek days, where he was a traveler and he would travel to Africa. He would travel to Eastern Africa. He would travel to like Nubia and Kush and Ethiopia, and he would bring back great tales of these magnificent people down there that were all powerful, and maybe not all powerful, but they were powerful and smart, intellectual. They were great people, and so just like he paid homage to them, it seems like Europe pays more homage to African Americans, Black people, foundational Black Americans, than our own kin, not our own kin, excuse me, our own peers here in America.
It's our kin as well. Black people don't look at Black people in America don't even see themselves as good as some people in Europe do. As far as your European comment, historically, Eastern Europe, Southern Europe, and Africa have had a relationship with each other for like the last 2,000 to 3,000 years, and that's because they're so close to each other. So obviously they trade with each other. The image of the black male is fairly new, and that image comes from the Northern European, and it comes from them because of colonization. When people see people in a negative light, they have to find reasons to see those people in negative light. We've all experienced hate from people who look like us, and people who, for whatever reason. And before somebody hates you, they have to find a reason to hate you. So they're gonna list things that you probably have never done and accuse you of things because they have to put you in a negative light in order to justify how they're feeling. So in America, when you're enslaving a group of people, who you see less than you, you have to justify your reason for treating them a certain way. So in America, we built a country around treating Black Americans and Native Americans a certain way. And obviously you can see with colonization, the British Empire was treating India like crap, and treating even the people in Australia. They were in Australia before Australia was separate from the British Empire. They were treating everybody that was non-white, whatever they called it, the Syrian race, whatever it was.
Oh yeah, the Aryan race, like the pure white race. Yeah,
exactly. I think even in their books, they did some research. There's a book called Sapiens, and it talks about the voyages to India that they took, and then they saw some of the Indian architecture, and it's like all these people. Their architecture is so beautiful that they had some level of intelligence. So the way the Aryans, the way that they justified it was the original Indian people were blonde and blue eyes, but then savages came to India and made it with the Indians, and then made them dark skin with black hair. It's in the book. It says that. And it's the same thing for Egypt as well. Egypt. It's not coincidental that the statues in Egypt got their nose and lips chopped off, and all the dolls.
Since when? How this happened? What?
All their toys, everything got there. It's because you have to justify a group of people being a certain way. And even until this day, they don't acknowledge that, but they really shouldn't. Really, who should be acknowledging Black history and Black power is Black people. We don't see ourselves in a good light, so other people don't see us in a good light. Asians fight for Asians, Chinese fight for Chinese, all these other groups fight for each other, and then we know that because they fight for each other, you have to respect that group. We don't collectively recently, we don't respect our group over the last 30 years or so. You can even see the way we speak. If you look at our music 40 years ago, 50 years ago, look at the interviews. People carried themselves a certain way. Look at the way like Muhammad Ali and all them dressed. They all married with each other. So really the problem is us. We have the money. Next to white people, we have the most money in this country. It's just we put our money in white people's hands.
Right. Chris, we were just saying this actually. We were like, when are we going to hold accountability? There's just this disassociation with each other, you know what I'm saying? Even when we pass each other by, you know what I'm saying? It's just no unity, no cohesiveness. And it should be like that, even if you don't know the next brother or sister. You know what I mean? But a lot of it has to do with what you were saying, though, too. We've also been conditioned as such. So it's like, is it also, too, we need to take accountability but then there are some people who really are still conditioned by this behavior, because we have all of our celebrities living their best life. And they pouring dollars into Gucci, into Louis. And I mean, you got the Teflon bags and you have other brands, and I don't know all the luxury purse brands because I'm not even really that big on that type of stuff anyway. I'm a different kind of woman. Like I will literally make my purse out of some trees. But I agree, but I do feel like a lot of it is being conditioned too into us. So it's like, how do we break that condition? How,
Yeah, I mean, and go ahead, Chris. I mean, a lot of it is what we were talking about just last week as well, which is a controversial subject, but I'm gonna go ahead and just at least touch on it. It's not my opinion. It's not my opinion, but people say that desegregation was the fall of the Black community, particularly because it splintered us, or at least it integrated us into a burning building, where Dr. King, as he so eloquently put it, we integrated ourselves into a nation that's failing in itself. You know what I mean? Morally, he was saying that, specifically. He was like, this nation is morally just going down the tubes, and with it are you know what I mean? When you have a capitalistic system that puts money over everything else, including morals, including life itself, including the sanctity of all the things that we are supposed to value, then of course you're going to have a depraved nation and the communities within that nation. So, you know, but Deron, what were you going to say? What were you going to touch on?
I mean, you made some good points, man, just now. What I was going to say was, well, I want to comment on what you said now, because I mean, my mind's on this part.
Oh, please,
but
please.
You mentioned, what was it, desegregation that hurt us? Well,
Yeah.
Well, what it is, I don't know if you remember, during that time, we had our own Black neighborhoods, we had our own Black businesses. We were a thriving and surviving community. The thing is with our government doesn't make 1-year plans. Our government makes 10-year,
20-year, 100-year.
They plan ahead of time. And then basically, as the country was growing, if we would have stayed in our neighborhoods and kept generating that wealth within our neighborhoods, we would have eventually took over the country. There's a book called Sapiens. Well, I already mentioned it. In the book Sapiens, it talks about the way we're designed as a species, and humans, because we need each other to survive. So there's a capacity to the limit of the amount of people that you can have within a group. But once that group grows at a certain level, then people break apart. You see it with religions. See, like the Christian religion has like a Baptist section. It has a
like Pentecostal.
Yeah, once the group gets to a certain level, then it's just normal. People like, all right, I want to break away and start my own little. The Black community is small enough to the point where they would have worked together and they would have organized and had a level of wealth. If you look at the white community, they're not they have like wealthy white people don't associate with redneck white people. I don't like saying that, but like working class white people.
That's
like
okay.
They're more they're more of an individualistic culture. But before that, we were all more of like a family community based group, like the Black people. We were together. So because we had to depend on each other, we're more likely to work together. And if we would have kept that dollar circulating, our schools would eventually got better. Our athletes would have been more seen. Like imagine if all of our Black athletes went to historically Black schools, and then all of our money, we would have had so much an influence over the country, the media. We would have eventually took over it because our tribe was bigger.
Yeah, I agree.
Right.
I totally agree. I've always thought that, and people have always thought I was crazy. I'm like, no, we need to just be with us. We need to be saturated amongst each other and be building and be speaking with each other and communicating and learning each other all over again with nobody else's influence. We don't need anybody else's influence. They need us. They want us a part of the world. They just want us in a position where we're oppressed in the world. And a lot of people aren't getting that. Our people.
Well, we're dependent on another group. We're the most out of any group in America, including white people. We are the most influential people when it comes to art. When it comes to athletics, it comes to music. We've completely changed the globe with that.
Yeah.
But we get no piece of that. That's our fault. I mean, that's our fault. No control.
And let's not leave out academics, because you know there's historical figures. Well, maybe not so much because we don't really talk about them like that. But I mean, I think it was one of like Albert Einstein's understudies who was a Black man that really pushed a lot of his theories into play. There was a dude that was out of Chicago who was a 13-year-old genius who went to like Yale or one of the Ivy League schools for physics or mathematics. Actually, I can't think of his name. Shame on me for that. But you know, like we have proteges, academically speaking, that don't get light shed on them. You know what I mean? So, like you said, to your point, you know, we come into industries and fields and we revolutionize shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
In my podcast, I had this guy recently, this professional European basketball player, and we were talking, and he mentioned like there's not a lot of brothers in tech, and I had to like check them, and I was like, oh no, man, there's a lot of brothers in Czech. I was like, I was like, if you go to college, you'll see a lot of Asians in tech engineering. That's what I mean, you'll see a lot of them Asians on college campuses, but they don't work for American companies. They go back to their countries. So when you're actually in the field and you're working in software engineering, I said, I've worked with a lot more Black people than I've worked with Asian people in this country. I said, what it is that there's not there's no kind of platform where all these Black people are aware of each other or they can meet each other, because they already exist. It's just there's nothing marketing that. Right now, what we get marketed is sports and music, and that's not our fault. That's just because we're, like Joy said, we're dependent on another group to actually promote us. But really, we have to organize it and put those other types of people on the scene.
I totally agree.
100%. Now, there's a thing called the brain drain, which is what you're alluding to, Duran, where other countries will, or what is it? Brain drain is pretty much when a certain field or a certain country will pretty much take the smartest and the brightest out of the general population. And when you do that, you kind of leave all the average people, intellectually speaking, together, and it kind of just takes away from the collective group, because you're taking those people out. So just like we said with desegregation, you know what I mean? If you take all the smartest, so just let's take the athletic circumstance that you noted. If you take all the best athletes from our community and you put them in all of these white colleges, then of course the HBCUs are going to be left with limited talent. You know what I mean? Instead of that all being kept within our community or kept within our universities,
right.
And we have, and then you have you have just a stronger, more dominant athletic program. You know what I mean? So like they do the same thing with our academically inclined brothers and sisters. They do that with our as far as our talent. You know, they take our entertainers and they splinter them into all these different record labels and then force them into deals that maybe might make them push a certain type of music versus what they're naturally inclined to make. So it's just the segregation thing is a very hot topic, but it is a very interesting topic and a topic that can be talked about for days and days. I think it's a really compelling and it's a compelling subject. It really is. It really is.
I want to comment on something that Joy mentioned at the beginning of this episode. Mentioned it was along the lines of like us working together, or it's like designed for each other or something like that. And I just wanted to point out that it's not that way in all states. It's I would have thought that if I would have been in California and never left California, I would have thought that that was like the norm around the entire country. But really, the liberal states, and I'm liberal, but really the liberal states are the ones that have like this this negative image of Black people, and they try to and they try to they try to pin us. Like you see the hate between the group. Like you get more tension amongst Black people in the liberal states. And that's usually the state where you see the most like police violence is in the liberal states. But one thing I noticed when I went to Utah, you know, when I was playing football, it was Black people from California, Texas, Florida, and then scattered around. And one of the things that we noticed is that the cops didn't mess with us. And I was just like, I mentioned, I was like, man, you know, the cops, we can go for a run, we can go for a walk. Cops can walk right by us and they'll just say, oh, excuse me, sir. Or, you know, they drive you, they won't even look at you while they're next to you in the car. So it's just kind of that was really new. And then also in Utah, all the Black people get along really well.
Really?
Like, they acknowledge you. If they see you in the grocery store, they don't just give you a head nod. Well, some will give you a head nod. You get that a lot. But then someone will be like, hey, how you doing, brother? Hey, Leah's scared. They have had Black people say that in lines, whereas like 8 people in front of, like there's 8 people between us, and they look at me and be like, hey, what's up, brother? And make sure I
love that.
in Utah, because the environment is a lot more peaceful, I've noticed. I've seen a lot of Black people generate they develop. I've seen a lot of Black people grow in positive ways, like including myself. I mean, Chris,
Nice.
I'm not as aggressive as I used to be, but in Utah, because I'm not in East Palo Alto, I'm not in that environment. I've had the room, a lot of that anger, that fear, that anxiety, the feeling like I got to get somebody before they get me, that went away. And because that went away, it just created space for me to do other things, other
Mhm.
things that I never even thought that I'd be doing. So,
Wow.
yeah, it's not just me.
Amazing.
I've seen other Black men here. There's another Black guy that's like a multimillionaire, same age as me. He has a suit company. There's another guy that's he's a multimillionaire. He's a little bit older. He's like in his 50s, 60s, but he has like a venture capitalist company. And there's a few others, but people, it's like it feels like Utah got the cream of the crop of Black people. But really, what it is that the environment is safe, and because the environment is safe and you're not getting hunted, you don't feel like you have to be the same person you would be if you was like in one of those hard neighborhoods in California or somewhere else.
Yeah. You have room to act, like you were saying, you can expand yourself. Your neural pathways are open to different things. You're not just concentrating on surviving. Now
Yeah.
you can create whatever it is you want to create. You don't have to have fear. That's not taking up any space in your brain, not stressing out your body. You can sleep well. That makes a difference. And I heard Utah was beautiful. But I was always like, damn, they got strict rules. I don't know. But
Well, Utah's more compared to California. Utah's more racist. Compared to California, it's weird because in California maybe it's covert racist, but in California, like I love that California is super diverse and that
yeah.
I can meet people from all over the place. But in Utah, it's not as diverse. And when somebody is racist, it's not like the South. I mean, I met Black people from the South that say Utah ain't nothing, but Utah, you can definitely tell when somebody's like doesn't like a Black person. You can tell. But with that being said,
Wow.
I really don't care about that. I care about the cops more than anything, and not everybody is like that in Utah. It's just like
Yeah.
you can get
And
who you
you-
like. But I have noticed that the people are less open than the people in California. But the rules in Utah, the laws, they're kind of more balanced than they are in California. I feel like
I
that.
see.
Yeah, I mean, and I was saying that like in July around our 4th of July episode, I was saying that, if I have to, for one, we got to realize in this country that we're picking the lesser of two evils when you choose between red and blue. You just got to know that they both ain't in favor of us. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
First and foremost. And if I had to choose, gun to my head, and I had to choose between red and blue, I'm picking red because I'd rather know that you against me rather than thinking that you're for me. And then when I turn my back, you're stabbing me in the back. And that's how it is in California with a lot of blue states. You know what I mean? Like I'd rather see my enemy than wonder who he or she is.
They just throw you in prison in California. They smile, be your best friend, and then be like, I felt like when I was in California, I was hunted. Every time, even when I would fly back from Utah to California, I worked for the police department in Utah for like 6 years, and I wouldn't even have to talk to my sergeant. I'll tell my sergeant, look, and I'm going to California. This is how it is. And they already knew. And they'd be like, hey, just take your badge with you. If something happened, they can just show them your badge and then call them. And shit would happen. I'll show my badge, and they would keep messing with me, but they would chill out. So once they realized I was like not who they thought I was. But what's so weird is that growing up in Cali, you get used to it. But then when you move and you go somewhere where somebody treats you like a person, you get treated like a human, and then you go back, that's when I was pissed off. When I was like, oh, I knew what was going on. And I was like, this ain't hell nah. That's what was hard for me. But I do think that the Black Lives Matter movement kind of chilled that out a little bit. I've noticed I haven't been really bothered too much the few times I have come. And I think people give there's some camps that give the Black Lives Matter thing a bad rap, but really what it did is it started Black entrepreneurism. I see a lot more Black people starting businesses, and then also the cops in Cali don't. I mean, really, that's the worst thing. I mean, once you have a record, it's hard to make a living. So the cops don't bother you that much in Cali, so you really don't have to worry about much.
Yeah. One other thing that I'll say on this is that when you are in more, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't live in a red state. But I assume that, like you were alluding to, that the community in those states is going to be tighter because because the forces against you are that much more apparent. You know what I mean? So it facilitates more of a necessity to have to stick together and build together, etc. Versus when you're in a blue state, for instance, where you feel like everything is all good, everybody is for you. You know what I mean? In the South, I better stick with my black brethren and sisterin because
Yeah,
shit, I can't come to the white man for help. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's why those black Wall Streets, for the most part, were in southern regions because it was like, well, shit, we ain't got nobody but each other to lean on and to build with. So the communities are going to be stronger. Out here, out here is just different.
Yeah, we don't even wave to each other out here. That's what I head nod, nothing. It feels weird to even, I literally, I've been like, hey, sister, I like your outfit. And she'd be like, thanks. Like, look, bitch, I don't want to lick your pussy. I just wanted to say your outfit's cute. Or, I tell the dude, hey, brother, you look real nice today. Have a good day. Peace to you. Just because I'm happy, just because, you know what I'm saying? And it's just very disconnected out here. So when you say that, like in Utah, Chris brings up a good point. I'm like, yeah, maybe they are like.
I was trying to think through what you were saying, Chris. In Utah, the one thing that makes Utah really unique from other states, Utah's a religious state. It's a Mormon state. So I've heard stories of Mormons kicking out non-Mormons out their group, like they reject them. Like I guess people, like kids just mingle around kids, but at a certain age, Mormon parents would tell their kids, don't hang out with those kids because they're not Mormon. That had nothing to do with the race. It had to do with like their religion. So you have in Utah, you have that. So yes, that religious group is very close in Utah. But I think that the black people here in Utah are close because one, the culture is different, and then two, there's not that many of us. So what I mean by culture, I mean like you'll get black people who come here who do have that mentality, like they'll see a brother and they just be like, me mugging or whatnot. But then because you in Utah and you see the way other black people treat black people, that me mug over like a year ago from this to like, you feel me? Because it's a different culture. People can see that black people relate to each other differently. So when you go, it's a lot of Africans in Utah. So even the Africans don't see you. There's more Africans than African Americans, but they'll see you and they'll be like, even the Africans are like, oh, what's up, brother? Oh,
Oh, that's nice.
And the African people, I mean, you do get some people who are like Africans that don't want to deal with African Americans, and I met African Americans who don't want to deal with Africans. But let's just focus on the ones who do want to deal with you. There's the African people, you can learn something as far as like something that we lost, at some point in time, because they're really, I want to say like really respectful. Like the men, I do karate, and my sensei is an African guy, and he's real older, but he reminds me of like an old school black guy in America from like the 60s or something. He just carries himself in a serious manner. He dresses in a serious manner. He speaks in a serious tone. And for me, he doesn't know it, but I admire him. I look at him as like a role model. And there's other African men that I've met that were very, just really gracious. Like if I need help and I'm doing something, like, oh brother, let me help you with that. Oh brother, let me open the door for you, or let me, something I've seen.
I love that.
So it's
yeah, that's nice.
Obviously you meet your trolls every now and then, but honestly, it's so rare. it just don't even faze you.
That's nice to hear. Now I'm about to go visit Utah.
Right. I love it, man. I love it. It gives me hope. You know what I mean? It gives me hope for the future.
Changing. The country is changing, man. I'm telling you, even like the 90s. Look at the black image in the 90s. It was like gangster rap. It was kind of like shoot 'em up, bang bang, is all this stuff. But it's gradually moving from like that hard gangster image to like, I don't even know what the hell it is now, but it's a softer image than what it was before.
I would say that it is definitely more of, I mean, even though we got a long way to go, God knows we do, it is more of a unified voice going forward. And I would credit that to, in large part, social media. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like Black Twitter, and I don't know if there's
Yeah,
such thing as
Black
Black
Twitter go
TikTok
hard.
or whatever, but we're able to just have a conversation that I guess allows us to come to a more conclusive, to more conclusion. You know what I mean? How do we feel about this as a people? How do we feel about that as a people? We didn't have that for a long time.
I already know what I'm
Yeah.
going to do, man. I already know what I'm going to do. My podcast going to blow up. I'm going to put other intelligent brothers on the scene, meet with Black professors, Black billionaires. I already know what I'm going to do. Even my tech business is going to blow up, and that's how I'm going to contribute, you know, with my
Hey.
business and
Yeah.
platform and that. That's, you know, I just had that conversation going. I'm sure there's other people who will be like prophets, disciples, or whatever that will contribute in their own way. I feel like it's the best thing I can do is be an example. You feel me?
Right.
Yeah.
You know, use your platform to influence the culture. Because like we said, we got a lot of negative bullshit influences out there influencing
It's-
our youth more than anything about
It's
which
hard.
way they need to go or how they need to act or behave. And
You know what I
we
don't like?
gotta rewrite that.
You know what I really don't like is East Palo Alto. When we were growing up, it was like 85% Black, and then
Yeah.
I was going into my teens is when it was like more Mexicans came in, and now it ain't even got no many Mexicans. It's like Asians and stuff. But
Yeah.
what I don't like is that there's no space for Black kids to really learn to love, like to love being who they are, love being Black. Because I grew up knowing who I was. You meet some now they have like this biracial thing. When I was growing up, it was just this person's mixed. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Nobody really thought that's as far as it went. Nobody
And that was
cared.
it.
Now I feel like kids is like they so confused and they don't have an identity. They don't have no strength in like who they are. And I think that's because kids who look like us are now going to schools that have teachers who don't look like them, who already think a certain way about them. So they already grow up with a lot of fear and anxiety and they don't know what to do. So yeah, I can't wait I can't wait for it to get organized to the point where we have good institutions and good grade schools, and then we can actually put our kids in those good grade schools or those kind of daycares with people and professors that look like them, so that they can have a better idea who they are, know their history better, not worry I have to depend on the media telling them who they are. And you know, before it was half. I'm not half shit, but mistake me for that before, but now it's like before it was like if you had any Black in you, say if you was halfway half Black, you were always accepted in the Black community. You still are accepted. But now it's like what they're saying is like in the white community, it's like, oh no, you're still not white, but now and you're not Black, but you're other. You're other now. You're biracial. You don't belong to any group. You're other. And then those people just grow up just lost. And it's like, man, your skin color is your skin color, but you define who you are. You feel me?
Right.
And you always accepted it. And you
Right.
still accepted in our circle. If you Black, Asian, you know, whatever your tone is, you know what I'm saying? There's African people that are my skin tone, that are Joy's skin tone. I've seen them in Utah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
you know, it's just the kids have to deal with so much different crap that I didn't have to deal with, and they're not even aware that it's just an illusion, just a distraction.
Yeah.
As most of the obstacles in this country are, it's a lot of it is just an illusion in our head. But this head on top of our shoulders right here is the pinnacle of our essence. You know what I mean? I would argue. And so if you ain't got your head straight, your mind right, then everything else is going to be terrible too. You know what I mean? So if they got a hold of our young people's minds, they got the game won. And so that's what our platform is here to kind of overcorrect on. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And I imagine yours is as well. Speaking of your platform, do you want to give us a breakdown of what your platform is all about and your tech business as well?
Oh, okay. Well, I'll talk about the podcast because this is more similar to my podcast. The podcast is called Geek Speak. And the way I came up with Geek Speak, I actually have a coding program, a software engineering company called geekmode.tech. And the reason I named it Geek Mode was because after I finished playing college football and then I pursued professional football and it didn't work out, I told my family, like, hey, you know, I'm going to go to school and I'm going to get my master's in IT. And some members of my family saw me as giving up. And I noticed I lost a lot of support from the people in my community when I decided to focus on academics and rather than athletics. And I was called a geek or, some kind of shit. And I was thinking like, man, I would tear you apart. But then I thought to myself, I was like, you know what? I think I wanted to create a platform I called it Geek Mode because I want to let people who look like me know that, hey, you can play sports, you can be a serious man, and you can read books. You can be athletic and intelligent. So that's why I named it Geek Mode. And the reason I named it Geek Speak, the podcast, is because I want to create a platform where we can have, where there's a space for just a different type of brother can come on and we can talk about academics. We can talk about engineering, talk about finances. We can talk, and I can also talk to the athletes and I can talk to musicians and them too. But I want to create a space for us, a voice for people who don't fit those fields. And just so people know that there's other types of black men. There's serious black men out there, so that's what it's about. And then it's more like, and I said that more like Joe Rogan because I am a fan of Joe Rogan's podcast. And I like that he has a diverse podcast and he has a variety of different topics that he talks about. So I want to do the same thing. I like having people on my show who are passionate about what they do. And we'll just have a conversation about it and, go from there.
Absolutely. I love that. I love that, man. Please, blacksmiths, everybody out there, go check out my man's platform, give us some love, share his content just like you would share ours. And hey, let's come up together in this podcast world. Let's do it together.
Love that.
Hell yeah, man. Well, we want to go into our main topics for today. First off, leading with Ime Udoka. I keep saying my brother's name wrong.
It's okay. He probably deserve it.
The head coach of the Boston Celtics, he got in trouble this week, maybe part of last week as well, for a scandal that involved him having sexual relations with some people, I think it's one single person in the Boston Celtics organization, which goes against their policy. And as a result, he's suspended for 1 year. He will not be participating in this basketball season of 22-23. And I want to touch on that because it's been a highly talked about subject over the past week. Deron,
what's his name?
Ime Udoka is his name.
How did you spell that?
So his first name is
Ime, right?
Ime Udoka, which is Udoko.
Okay.
I believe.
Oh, so he's a coach. So he's a coach.
He's the head coach.
He's the head coach.
He's the head coach. Yeah. So
with the worker
there.
He had an affair with a worker.
Yeah, he had an affair with somebody on the staff, possibly in the front office. I believe. I don't think she was working directly with the players or anything, but I could be wrong. What was that?
She ratted him
I don't
out?
know. I don't know. I'm not sure. Those details I'm unsure about. I don't think those details have even come forth yet. They're keeping her identity under wraps as of right now. So there's a lot of speculation resulting. They are saying that. So he was.
And what's
involved.
the Nia Long thing all about? What's the Nia Long thing all about?
So that she is the mother of one of his children.
They're together.
And they're currently still together.
I mean, how many baby daddies is Nia Long got?
I'm not sure. I have no idea, to be honest.
Wait, okay, you know what? This is what he just said right now. I want to touch on something about that because Nick Cannon and NBA Youngboy, they on their 10 children. So I want to just go back to that after we touch on this double standard, because I see where you was going with that.
I was playing, but yeah, let's talk about that. I do want to talk about that as well. I think
okay.
Okay. But the way I feel about this whole thing is, if it is a rule, then you should follow the rule. You got to control your nut, man. I actually founded a nonprofit, and it was a nonprofit for boxing on a college campus. And it was a situation where a coach had a sexual relationship with one of the girls on the team, and he also flirted with some girls and made them uncomfortable. And that's against compliance. It was against the rules of what we had. So when I put you in when I put you in a position of authority, I expect you to respect that position and to carry yourself a certain way. I mean,
Yeah.
this dude Hadoku, whoever he is, I'm sure he could have got cheeks from somebody else if he wanted to. This girl was.
He probably was.
This girl just happened to be there. He sees her probably on a daily basis. They crack jokes and all this stuff. So
I saw the picture of her. She's straight. She definitely ain't touching Nia. I mean, not that looks have anything to do with it at all. But
yeah, he should have a little bit more. I think he should still carry himself a certain way. If he's not supposed to do that, then don't do it. That's just how it is.
But not only that, like you're in a union with somebody, and then on top of that, it's the guidelines with your position. Like,
was he married to Nia Long? Did he cheat on Nia Long?
No, they're not married. He did. He cheated on her with the girl, with the staff worker.
So first off, let's get one thing straight. We do all right, and I know this is going to the left field with it, but we don't know the arrangement that Nia Long.
I was just about to say the same thing. I'm about to say we don't know what their relationship is all about.
Right.
Okay.
Now it's it's said that they are together. I'll believe that. But just like Will Smith and Jada Pinkett were together, they had an arrangement where they could, have exterior.
They could do their thing. Nia Long just don't want to lose face. She don't want to come out in public like, oh, we already had an open relationship. I got a little young boo thing. He got his. So she got to look good. She got to save face. Like, oh, he's a creep. Women don't like putting their business out there like that.
Right. You know what I mean?
Especially Nia Long. She come off.
You know what? That could be true. That could.
Celebrity culture is like that. Celebrity culture is like that. Like for sure.
That's true. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we just don't know. So let's just be fine with knowing that we don't know what's going on. You know what I mean? But I would like to comment on the fact. I want to make two comments. I want to comment on the fact that Ime is getting all of the flack for doing this, and this coworker of his is getting none of the flack, which I think is a pervasive issue.
How do you know that?
What's her name? How do you get a picture of her? I want to see.
Exactly. We don't know her
I
identity.
saw a picture of her, but it was like earlier in the week. It's the some of the media posts have her picture.
Are you sure?
Is
that confirmed? Sure. Okay. All right. As far as I knew before this interview or before this session started, her identity was being kept a secret. You know what I mean? But even if her identity is out there, is she receiving the same amount of flack because she's a married woman? From all the reports are saying, is she receiving flack? Exactly. And so there's a discrepancy between how men are treated during these situations and how women are treated during these situations.
No, he's the head coach.
Yeah, 100%. So she's receiving no criticism at all.
How do you know?
Because look at the comment section.
No, people was talking about her looking raggedy. That's how I knew what she looked like.
Okay, looking raggedy is far different. Looking raggedy is far different of a criticism.
She's getting
than
it
like
from the women.
You are morally wrong.
She's
women
getting
always get dissed for their looks, though. Women always get dissed.
But what I'm saying is, women are going to get
on. Be like, look at her ears. Look at her,
Oh, she's
married to the Celtics vice president. Wow.
All they did was suspend his ass. He must have got an ass beaten in the private.
This just in, breaking news. Yeah, so it turns out that our fact checker, Mr. LJ, he gave us the information that she's married to the vice president of the Celtics organization, which is no wonder why this dude got suspended for it.
She looks so innocent too.
All he got was suspended. He don't look innocent to me. He looked, but that's my woman intuition.
From a man's eyes, she come off as innocent, but she looked like one of those closet college.
Oh, the girl. Yeah.
Wow. So, yeah, she's getting none of the flack for this, but maybe she is if she's married to the VP. I haven't heard any criticism
with his chocolate skin. I said no, but he just came on to me too hard.
That was one of her quotes.
Her husband is soft though. I looked at him. He He's a Doug Funny. He's a Gumby. He's one of those like super skinny, smiley little dudes. Women like that in high school and like beginning of college. These little cute, tiny dudes, but as when they get a little age, they want somebody that look like a big dog. Somebody that look
He's
like
probably
a man.
easy to push over. Babe, can I have the pocketbook? Yeah, honey, thanks. You know, and all she got to do is sit on his face one time.
Basically.
You know? And she said, I want something else. I mean, maybe he knew. Oh, well, no, he didn't because they said she cheated. I was going to say maybe Chris, like you said, maybe they have an arrangement.
They might, you know. Celebrities are crazy.
No, they said she cheated on him.
Yeah, that's wild, man. I mean, now correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm probably wrong. But didn't LeBron have some type of beef with his teammate from the Cavaliers because one of them slept with his mom or something like that?
Yeah, I remember that when he's on the I remember that.
Was that just a rumor or did that really happen?
It really happened.
That's crazy, though.
I remember that. It was like when he first started college.
Delonte West.
Really?
That's mad disrespectful. But who's more wrong? Who's more wrong? Is his teammate wrong or is his mom?
Honestly, man, check this out. Who won in that situation?
LeBron,
Delonte West or LeBron's mom?
Of course.
LeBron's mom is like low-key crackhead too. So I mean, she is. She is. So it's like, what is Delonte thinking, man? I mean, I'm like,
she probably sent that baby spiraling.
Yeah, I mean, it's
so
really
sad.
The mama won in that situation. I'd be like, man, get out of here with all that. I don't want to. I'm busting your mama cheeks. I'm like, dude, what is you? It's nasty. I'm not.
I have a question, though. I have a question, and this is a serious question. Like, let's just take away the husband and the wife out of the situation. Nia Long and old boy ain't married, but I'm like, let's just take out the spouses, and let's just say, like, they got caught up being together. I mean, what's really wrong with that?
What do you mean? Like them having sex?
Sex? I mean, if you take, is it just because she was married to the? Is that it?
I'm there. Honestly, I'm with Joy. I'm with Joy on this whole situation. I feel like my perspective or my idea about relationships is way different than it was when I was younger. And at the end of the day, it is just sex. You know what I'm saying? It's
I'm like, what it got to do with the?
Oh, you're saying if she was not married to the VP?
Yeah, if she wasn't married to if she wasn't married to the vice president, Nia Long wasn't with Udoka.
Right.
Like, well, would it be wrong? Is that
like Deron said? Like Deron said earlier, you know what I mean? It's against policy. So I mean,
that could be a lie too, though. Now that I'm hearing the whole story, that it was the vice president's wife, that could be a lie. Because people have sex with coworkers pretty frequently. And that's happened for decades.
Nah,
so it's probably because it's the VP wife, honestly, that they penalize.
I think in most companies,
if it was the girl at the popcorn stand, at the popcorn stand at the Boston Celtics, I doubt that he'd be suspended.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I think that's why.
You know what? And I'm gonna have to say that I believe most corporations have these non-fraternizing clauses or policies as far as employment goes. You're not supposed to be having workplace relationships because
people meet their spouses at college and at work. That's the most common places where people meet their spouses.
Yeah, but they're doing away with that. They're doing away with that because of the implications that it can have.
They're not doing away with that. That's been a rule since before we was born. Before my mama was born.
Now trust me. I am in favor of the same side that you guys are arguing. I think it should be okay. You spend a third of your life at work. Where the fuck else are you supposed to meet somebody? You know what I mean? I'm in favor of that. But policy-wise, most corporations have some type of policy in place to prevent them from being liable.
Exactly. Harassment policy.
Exactly.
And then they say that it has to be consensual sex. They strongly advise you not to date anybody at work because problems can happen. At work, consensual, then yes, you can do it. The problem is that when people break up and then they lie, from what it sounds like at this situation, it sounds like he was busting the VP's wife's cheeks. He found out, and then they came up with some, there's a rule that you can't have sex with upper management's spouses. You can't, something like that. That's what it sounds like happening.
So just like you said, just like you just said,
for a year.
Just like you just said, if a relationship goes wrong, it turns into a he say, she say situation. And corporations don't want to deal with that at all. They don't want to deal with that at all. So they have the policy where, hey, we don't want nobody touching or talking to nobody.
Go wrong. They were still having a good time and they got caught. That's what happened.
That's what I'm saying. See, if I can even agree that maybe there was already a rule in place that there's no fraternizing. My thing is why did y'all suspend them for a year?
Instead of just firing him?
They're gonna fire him. They're gonna fire him.
Yeah, they should have fired him.
Damn.
Yeah.
Y'all think they really gonna?
Yeah, for sure.
They gotta get rid of him because the VP know he can get his ass whipped, so he's already intimidated, and it's just embarrassing. White guys don't like.
Who knows how he found out?
Look, white dudes don't like seeing their women get torn apart by black dudes, and that's what's happening more common. It's becoming more common. And this big old masculine dude coming in dominated his VP's wife. That's out of pocket. I would never have sex with my VP's wife. I would never have sex with the vice president of the country's wife.
Like y'all really cutting it.
Come on, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hey.
Yeah.
Bill Maher. I don't know if you guys watch his show, but he had a whole segment talking about this. And how, like you guys are saying, like we're all saying, it shouldn't be a policy in most workplaces because, like you said, or like we said, you spend a third of your life at work. The other third of your life is spent in bed, sleeping.
What are you saying, Chris? What policy are you saying? Because I just told you, HR, they have rules around sexual harassment. They don't say you can't date people at work. They just advise you not
to. I remember.
No, they have fraternizing ones.
My first job out of college, I was working for a corporation and they had a non-fraternizing policy.
Yeah.
Because it puts them in too much liability, Then they
don't want you to get mad one day and fuck up the files because you was messing around with Patty.
Or what happens? Worst case scenario. He touched me inappropriately. And you guys are liable because you guys didn't have HR monitoring what this man was doing to me.
Real talk. Real talk. I'm a little bit cautious about working with women because I've had situations I work with women. I've had situations where the women were always nice to me, but then it would be like dudes at the workplace would be really jealous because they would bring me some food from their house or something like that, or they bring me like snacks. And some of these women was like married, you know what I'm saying? Or they would come over and just to have a conversation. And the dudes be looking like,
oh my God.
Exactly. They just get jealous. Some of these dudes is married themselves, but they get jealous because of that.
Don't even give a fuck about their wife's lunch.
Yeah, so because of that, I'm kind of like I had a situation, right? I actually quit my job. This is one of the reasons I quit my first software engineering job. Me and my boss, we wasn't getting along he was just jealous for other reasons. He's a cool dude, but he just had he would do some weird stuff, out of pocket stuff every now and then.
Yeah.
But there was a company dinner where he was like, hey man, just come to the company little Christmas party thing, right? So like, all right, I went, right? And I went in there and then I was dressed up to the T as usual. And his woman got up and saw me, got up and grabbed my bicep, was like, oh, you so muscular. She like grabbed it, like gave my arm, my bicep a hug. And then I looked at my boss like, you know what I'm saying? And because she did it in front of everybody. And right when I left, I left like, I stayed for like an hour, then I left. And then she said, as I was like, all right, well, bye everybody. Then she ran over to me again. She's like, hold on, one more time. She like grabbed my arm, was rubbing it, and hugged me again. And I had to tell my boss the next day on Monday, I was like, hey man, sorry about what happened. That was so inappropriate. I was embarrassed. I wanted to say something, but I didn't want to.
But you didn't do nothing.
I wanted to say, get the hell off. That's what I wanted to say.
Right.
Go off me. That's what I wanted to do.
Right.
But he just told me not to worry about it. But I knew it bothered him. And eventually I just was like, he would do some like sideways stuff. And I was like, you know what? I just quit. I just quit that job.
Yeah, because he probably was still feeling a certain kind of way. That was never going to go away.
Yeah, it wasn't.
She needs to be checked.
Yeah.
She needs to be checked because that's the same type of shit that got Emmett Till caught up. You know what I mean? Like where you make these white niggas jealous because you own me, and or matter of fact, that was the same situation that happened in. I'm thinking of that movie Rosewood.
Rosewood? Yeah, that movie was yes. That movie
was terrible.
It was terrible.
Yeah,
it was.
She
terrible.
plays the victim because they got caught. And now they burning down a whole black town because of what this one white woman was doing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's how women are in general. Like, we getting on white girls right now. But women in general don't like putting their sexual business out there, man. I'm telling you. I'm private too. But women are way more private than men on average. And if she come out, girls like, oh no,
no, not no more. That has transitioned. That has transitioned, especially with these podcasts. When you guys were talking about the kind of platform that we want to provide to the kind of people, the podcasts that I hear now, these girls is like, oh yeah, I want it in my booty hole and I want to be face down, ass up. Like they tell it all.
That's how girls talk to girls.
Care no more.
That's how girls talk to girls.
No, that's how they're talking. That's how these
girls talk to girls privately like that, and girls share their sexual like, oh yeah, I was.
But now even on these platforms.
Girls do not go up to men and be like, oh, I was with Duran the other day.
Man,
I was with Duran.
But men don't do that either.
Girls don't talk to other dudes like that.
Men don't do that to women though either though. I mean, I get what you're saying, but I feel like that's more, that is more catered to the clear girls.
Women talk like, I know women talk like the way you're saying. They even more nasty than we are. But as far as like, women like to keep it to themselves or to their circle. Women don't like other men knowing their stuff.
No, that's true. And I do feel like that, but but I feel like there's also women who they're just trifling, period. Those are the trifling ones who don't want their business out. They doing trifling shit, but they don't want nobody to know. And so they do some trifling shit to cover it up. Not every woman is like that. I'm the type of woman, don't kiss, don't tell. I'll tell the right person and I might show you the right, but I'm not sitting up here like, no, I don't do nothing and I'll claim rape. No, I'm not like, look, if you found out, then you just found out. I'd rather you find out I was a hoe than you know what I'm saying? I'm not
going somebody's life.
Not everybody. Not every woman is like that. I'll just be like, fuck, I hope they forget about this shit in a few years, that type shit.
Yeah, man.
It's not looking for a bad name.
No.
Hey, women
is
players out here, man. He was raised to think women are innocent. These women are better players than the men.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Easy. I mean, that is true.
They do it better. Now recent statistics that have been coming out over the past few years, they cite that women, they do these surveys where people can just talk more freely because of anonymity. Surveys are coming out saying that women cheat more than men.
What? Maybe.
But the difference being is that men get caught more because women are just better at it. You know what I mean?
I don't know if women cheat.
They're just more split.
I don't know if I believe that. I think women are more like men than we were aware of historically. I think we're pretty much the same, except when it comes to like obviously sexual organs or like body mass. But I think women are just like we are. You know what I'm saying? I think really, you know what I'm saying? That's all I got.
Yeah, 100%. I'm in.
But with that being said, I do think that women, at the same time, you get women players. I do think that there's men and women who can still have that traditional relationship because that's just how they roll. You know what I'm saying? But to expect every man and every woman to want the traditional thing, I think that that's false.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's never been that's never been really a true reality. You know what I mean?
What's never been a true reality?
The traditional approach to
it is true,
marriage,
man.
I guess.
It is true. It's just we've only had one-sided. Like you'll have cultures that are all polygamous. You have one culture that is all what's a mono or just one marriage?
Monogamous.
Monogamous. You have one culture that's monogamous. Both cultures are wrong because human beings, some people are polygamous, some are monogamous, some just like to bang and leave after a few days so they get bored. That's just how some people are. You know what I'm saying? What it is that there's not a culture that's open to people just being who they are. You know, it's like you once you step into a culture, you have to adapt to that culture's rules or live by that culture's rules.
Yeah, I think that we're all different, but I do think that women, I feel like women can be just as freaky or just as kinky as men, or think about or be more, just as sexual as men. But I also feel like there's a component of us that knows how to reserve it because we're also nurturers. There's also a part of us that can't go all the way to that extent because naturally we're nurturers. So like, I've always just believed like men more so, I can understand men more so wanting multiple partners versus a woman, because a woman's womb is so sacred. That energy is staying there.
That comes with maturity. Because I know when I was younger, I really didn't care. I thought that I was the catch. I thought she was lucky if I gave her some. So that's how I was when I was younger. And then I would bang whoever was like open to it. I wouldn't chase women. But as I gotten older, I'm a lot more careful about who I sleep with, to be honest. I think it's nasty. There's some weird people out there.
Yeah, sometimes.
That's honestly how I feel. So I'm like, it's not about being monogamous or polygamous.
Right.
It's more about building a relationship with the person I'm with and making sure she's stable. Because now it matters, man. Now it's about homies. You know what I'm saying? Because before I had all these boys, I was my homies, but now as I get older, I've had more women have my back than I've had men have my back. So I'm just more careful who I let into my home, who I give my body to, etc.
Yeah.
I mean, as you should. As we get older, we're supposed to get more wise.
I gotta get out of here, man.
And less risky.
I gotta get out of here. I gotta edit my podcast. I gotta do some business stuff. So I'll get at y'all later.
Okay.
All
right. Hey,
thanks for being here.
We appreciate having you, man. Thank you.
Hey, it was good seeing you. It was good catching up, Chris, after so long, man.
Yeah, man.
You still look the same when you looked in high school.
So do you, bro. So do you.
Well, I used to have hair. You feel
but
me?
You
I
always had
my head back then, but you feel me? I got a little shadow or something, but anyways, whatever, bro. It was good seeing both of y'all. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we gotta have you again.
Yes,
Peace.
Yeah, so I'm glad that we had a blast from the past, Mr. Deron Brown, in the episode of the podcast. That was great. I haven't seen that man since maybe my freshman year in college. So it was really good to see him from my hometown of East Palo Alto, representing in Utah now. I love that. Yeah, let's carry on. So now that we've kind of covered the Ime Udoka situation, why don't we move on to surveillance and people posting videos and pictures that happen to have other bystanders in the frame,
or hell, even the people in the frame. But yeah, I watched this video where this young lady was talking about it. I wish I had it. She was talking about how there are so many videos that are going viral today, and and people are making memes out of them, and people are having to live with this. These are people that are, like you said, either the innocent bystander in the video, or they're the person in the video. Like you have people who end up fighting or having an altercation in the video, and you have one person who's filming it all up in someone else's face. or, you know, people getting intimate moments, you know what I'm saying, or embarrassing moments. Like I recently saw this video, and I ain't gonna lie, I laughed, but then after a while, my conscience hit me, and it was like, it was this woman. She was like a thicker, you know, thicker woman walking down this set, like this model set, walking down the runway, and she was doing okay, but then she started tripping. She had such a hard trip and fall, and she fell over the stage. Y'all might have saw this. And yeah, and it was kind of funny, but then I was thinking, like, you know what? She actually could have really been hurt by that. And we're over here laughing. Not only could it have hurt her emotionally, I know that that fall had to hurt an ankle, an arm, or something. And I hope that she's okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, the people have to live with what people say about them, and they didn't even volunteer to be in these damn videos. Even sometimes I'm like, fuck, I hope nothing embarrassing happens to me in public, because I don't want to be nobody's mean. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to. You know, remember the girl with the hand? Am I doing? She had the hand out doing all that.
Yeah, so, right.
So yeah, so I thought that had good points. Like, what do you feel about that?
I mean, it's definitely something that has not been talked about very much at all. Although it's been something that has been personally on my mind ever since really social media started taking off. You know what I mean? Like I said, I am a adamant believer in defense. You feel me? Mm-hmm. So, you know, as far as just, you know what? And this is where it comes from, to be honest. Now that I'm thinking about it, it all stems from my homeboy. This is a long time ago. This is 10 plus years ago. Mm-hmm. My homeboy got put on blast, like hardcore, because somebody had made a video that featured photos of him naked in bed with some other chick. You know what I mean? Putting all his business out on the street. So it was just from that very moment, it was like, whoa, you can really like be put on blast in this new age. You know what I mean? And ever since then, I've been very, very cognizant of everything, of shit, having things on my camera so that, you know, if somebody was to tap into my personal computer or my phone or whatever, they cannot see me. I've been very cognizant about like about doing stuff in public and otherwise, because you never know who's filming these days. And just in terms of my social media presence in general, like that shit is damn near non-existent, because you know you got to play defense these days. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you just have to play defense. So it goes to this point of like, you know, in this age, like you could anybody's post in any number of platforms, and you might never ever know about it because they might not tag you. You know what I mean? You'd be on some rando's page just walking down the street because they happen to be shooting something about you, like talking about you specifically, maybe about what you got on, whatever. In which case you really can't stop that. Or they could be talking about somebody else where you just happen to be in the background or the foreground of their frame. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's something that we all have to be aware of and keep in mind, specifically when you're out in public. Like, don't be caught slipping, because with as many cameras that exist today, which are in people's hands, or just the surveillance cameras that are on the corners of buildings and establishments, like, you know what I mean? Your every move is being watched. Especially, don't let me start talking about the CIA, the NSA, and all the that they got on everybody. You know what I mean? Like, as far as privacy, that shit is non-existent.
Oh, that's like zero.
You can how the Italians say, you can forget about it.
Yeah, you know what I mean? You can kiss it. You can kiss that goodbye. Yeah. I totally agree. I have little things that I put on my phone too, because I'm like, no, unless I intentionally want to take a picture. Because there's just so much going behind the scenes, and a lot of that you can't take back. That is footage, you know. And I like how you said it, like defense wins, because you cannot stop somebody if they want to film you, but you can be a little bit more cognizant and conscientious of what you're doing and how you're moving about. I'm the same way, just in general, period. Even with my social media, I used to have so many pages and I used to put up so much, and I'm dancing and I'm this and that. And not even trying to sound paranoid. You know, I was telling you and LJ before, I was like, look, all y'all gonna get is topping up. I don't care if y'all think I'm some 400-pound chick. I do not care. I don't want you knowing where my birthmarks are. I don't want you knowing, you know what I'm saying, certain things about my body. I don't want you to be able to zoom in and look at the pattern of my fucking thumbprint. Yep. You know, but because it happens. And then you see these people, they become like these viral memes that go on for years and years and years. You know, this face, this person don't even fucking know you. And here you are using them to describe certain shit in life for a good laugh. You don't know if that was a bad day for them. You don't know what happened. Just like it was this video, you know, when monkeypox came out, which that shit looks so fucking disgusting. But they were showing this woman who was on the metro or something, and she had like sores or something all over her body, very unrelated to the monkeypox, a condition that she's had her whole life. But somebody took that one picture of her and was like, this shit is so disgusting. This bitch is sitting up on the train knowing that she got this shit. Blah, 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 blah. That shit went viral. And that woman ended up having to address it because people were mad at her. It's like, how you get mad at the woman who was minding her business on the subway and somebody else took a picture, made an assumption, put it on there. That's another thing. People are taking their power of their words, and they're taking these short clippings of these videos from someone else's page, and they're taking and they're putting their own words on it. Now, yeah, some memes are funny, but like when it's somebody going through some shit, these videos of people crying or going through a hard time or fighting, or maybe a bitch lost a fight and they pulled her wig off or whatever. And you're literally putting words and captions on it and then spreading it, knowing damn well you wouldn't want it happening to you or your family member, somebody that you love.
Right.
You know?
And, you know, as far as like, where do we go from here? I really don't have any solutions to it, because it's not like you can, what is the solution? I don't see one there being one, you know, well, unless they make a law where, what was that?
Your defense idea was one of them, you know, being more
as far as your personal resolution to kind of, you know, not, and let me just touch on this. You don't even need nobody to put you on blast these days. As far as the culture, people are putting themselves on blast.
Oh, you know yeah.
They just typing up any little thought, impulse that comes to mind, posting it. You know what I mean? As far as thoughts, as far as pictures of themselves or whatever. Like, you know, like you don't even need people to put you on blast where you're gonna do it yourself. Because nobody has a filter. Nobody has a filter these days or whatever. But the second point I was gonna make was that you just be on behavior, because you know, and I'm gonna take it back to the Bible, you feel me? You know what I mean? Everything that's in the dark will come to the light.
Sure will.
I mean? And the era that we're in particularly is showing that prophecy to be true. You know what I mean? You can't do nothing these days, whether it's dirt or particularly when it's dirt. The good shit, you can do a whole bunch of good shit. Ain't nobody gonna care about that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But if you're doing dirt behind the scenes, it's going to get found out.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So just play defense, be on your best behavior, be your best version of you, and you know, proceed.
Yeah, and have self-control, and just, you know, don't let these phones and this social media take over your mind. I think a lot of it is because of the clout. A lot of it is because people see somebody else doing it, so they say that's okay. Like, I see all the women with the nude pictures and shit, and don't get me wrong, a lot of those women are beautiful too. These women who do these IG models.
I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all.
But my thing is for me to protect myself as a woman, I don't feel like I want to do that just because I know the value of what I have. it don't have, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't even matter how beautiful or how not beautiful you are, or how talented or how not talented you are. There's so many things that I could put out. I choose not to put that out because I even like to protect my gifts. I don't even want anybody thinking like, oh, I saw that you did this. And I had once upon a time when I had my previous Instagram, I had this stalking ass bitch who kept taking my fucking post and posting them as hers. And I'm like, bitch, if you create, and I didn't even have that many followers, maybe 1,000. And I'm like, you're literally, she kept creating page after page, taking my quotes, taking some of my videos. At that time, I was really putting work into my content. Now I just, I post on the fly. If I post some inspirational stuff, but I learned to protect that, especially because of the hackers. My page got hacked this year too, twice. So I was like, oh no, I won't be putting up anything that really like pushes my soul out there, because we just don't know who's behind the other side of the screen in any aspect. Just like you said, NSA, FBI, all of them. This is a whole television screen for them.
Right. They got free access into everybody's lives.
Exactly.
They do not have to work for it. If they're gonna get me, they're gonna work for that shit. I guarantee you that.
Right. Like, damn, it
will have been well deserved if they get me.
Like, right. You was digging.
And that's just the thing that really sad about this new generation, is that, they're just making it so easy to become victims of somebody else's whims.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So
I agree.
Sad state of reality.
Yeah.
But like you said, there's no real recourse other than your own personal behavior and your own personal, I guess, resilience. Like I'll cite one more example of why I became more conscientious of this whole social media age that we're in. I remember this was probably, I was fresh out of college, right? And we go out drinking, right? And we're in the club, everybody's dancing and everything. And then my boy, he took a picture of me. I had one too many, I guess. But the snapshot that he got was so perfectly like fucked up. It had my eyes kind of like rolling back into my head, right? I had my hands up, like, and I was having a good time. But on the he made me a meme, dog. He put slithered at the end of the at the bottom of the page, like, yeah, this nigga's fucked up. And had me on blast on Facebook. I was hella mad.
Yes,
shout out to my boy Pompey. He's a little jokester. But yeah, it just made me cognizant, like, okay, when you go out, you just gotta have a little more game about you. You know what I mean? Like, don't be putting yourself into a situation.
Yeah, because now people thirsty with the cameras, and it's like, bitch, I'll slap that camera out your hand so fast, like the gorillas and the fucking bitch. Yeah,
right. That's what that girl. So you shared a video of this girl singing at her graduation ceremony, right? That's exactly the reaction she should have had.
Yeah,
because nobody in that crowd was feeling that song, unfortunately.
Maybe she didn't know her.
I would have seen how she was standing in the room with her phone, and I would have got up from that podium and slapped the hell out of her and that phone.
Mid song while I'm singing the song. Right. Bitch. Film your mammy, not me. Because here's the thing, it doesn't matter what you find funny or not. It doesn't give you the right to just go and like film it. We talking about energy here. It just really goes deep, you know what I'm saying? And like when my friends, if I take a picture of them and they don't like it, or I get a video, when people be like, Joy, delete that, I delete it. I delete it because I get how you feel. You don't want to be captured that way. And who am I to say, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I could do it, but yeah. So, I mean, I love that we're bringing awareness to this. At the very least, maybe just bringing awareness. If somebody got to say something about it, more people. So,
Right.
At the very
Right.
least, just bringing awareness to it
Yeah.
makes a difference in itself.
Yeah, because to piggyback on the conversation that we had last week about record executives or record deals, kind of taking complete ownership of an artist's life and everything that they end up doing in perpetuity. That's kind of like how everybody feels entitled to other people's images today. You know what I mean? If I got my phone out without your consent, I can record you and do whatever I want with it, with or without your your knowledge or consent.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so people are having more of a boldness and they're taking a privileged position in thinking that, like, hey, if I capture you on my camera, it's mine, it's not yours, you have no say. Even if it's your image, your likeness, or whatever, I can post it and make millions or thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars on it because it's my post.
Right.
You know?
Right. It's crazy. Yeah.
So,
good luck to who do that to me. Look, y'all hearing it now. Just going ahead, throw away the key, because that's gonna be the second meme.
You've been warned.
Yeah, I don't buy. Because that's we can go on and on, but yeah.
I want to also shed light on another topic of discussion. I want to shed light on one of our ancestors now who just crossed over into the realm of from peer to ancestry, and that is the late great Coolio, who died at the age of 59. Died at the age of 59, and
that's young.
A really sad event. 59. As my coworker was the first person that made me aware of it, but 59 is way too fucking young to be dying. You know what I mean? But as we've said in the past, the life expectancy of Black men is low, man. And like, we can't, just like they used to say, like, damn, you're lucky if you make it to 25 if you grow up in the hood. You're lucky if you make it to 60 as a Black man in this country, because not only do you have to look out for the cops and other people trying to come for your life, but our health is compromised in so many ways,
severely.
It leads to incidents like this, where that man had 5 kids that he's leaving behind. You know what I mean? That man is leaving behind a family that I'm sure is dependent on him to be the breadwinner. And so for you to check out at 60, before 60, that's such a tragedy. It's such a tragedy to hear it.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be remembered. And, somebody made a list of like all the hip hop artists, like the rappers and hip hop artists that have died before, like at an early age, like by 60. And he's just one of many. DMX was on there. It was just so many. I was just like, wow, like, this is crazy. All Black men. So what is it? Because they reached a certain peak of life where they could afford some kind of decent food or whatever it is, decent health care. I'm guessing, there were some of these people were mega stars. So what happened? Like, what is the common factor for even these men? What's the common factor for our general working Black men? And what's the common factor for these men where they're also dying before 60? Because now it's not just because I'm working a 9 to 5. You know what I'm saying? It's not those same type of stresses. So what is it? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to say that it's in large part to our health. Our diet. Our diets probably have and this is without much evidence in front of me, but just taking anecdotal information. The soul food. If you're on that soul food diet, that is a threat to your health long term. You can have a soul food meal, a couple times a year, maybe even a couple times a month, But if that's a regular part of your diet, you know what I mean?
Right.
You
And
gotta
seafood
reconsider it.
boils.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
You know, them
Like,
is popular now.
right. But
Yeah.
there's so much saturated fat in this stuff, and
Yeah.
it's just really sad. It's just really we really just have to do a full house cleaning of our lifestyles, because it is not what's the word, conducive. It's not
It is.
conducive to a long life, as
Yeah.
we see this over and
Yeah.
over.
Like these men
You
should
know?
at least be like 80 and 90. That's a good 30 and 40 years. You know, I mean, either way, you know, may he rest in peace. And I just really hope like this, I feel like this generation of men, like our age, are going to do better. I think our generation is starting to do better. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I believe so too. Because like I said, with social media, although it comes with a whole lot of negatives, it comes with a tremendous amount of positives. One of those positives being is the dissemination of information.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? There's so many channels that I follow as an individual that that I follow specifically because they can advance my direction of health and diet and spirituality and just overall knowledge. You know
Preach it, Chris.
You know, so we're in that advantage. We're in that advantage. It's just up to us to take advantage of it. You know what I mean? So
and that is one of the resources. I'm the same way. When I want to research something, I literally will go on Instagram. Like, how do I make a natural holistic remedy for sore throat? You know, I have books that I've purchased on my own. You know, African Holistic Health by Dr. Laila Afrika, one of the best books. Right. Just so that as a Black woman, you know, just protecting my womb and just making sure that when I do decide to have a child, I'm really like pushing out a healthy baby, not just from when the baby's born, like from when the baby's conceived. And knowing enough to spread it. You know what I'm saying? We don't all have to be gurus, but you know, like, you know, our grandparents say, oh, you got a sore throat, just add a little bit of vinegar with a dash of sugar, 2 drops of lime juice, and horseradish, and 1 mustard seed. And then you know what I'm saying? We need to go back to that, to that naturalness, to eating more natural food and not soul food, but you could still eat vegetables and if you eat your meats, because I don't eat meat, but if you eat meat, you know what I'm saying? Eating lean grass-fed meat, knowing where your food is coming from. And if you're going to eat, whatever you're going to eat, be conscientious about it. You know, when you're putting it in your body, I was thinking about it when I was praying over my food today. And I was eating avocado and cucumber for breakfast. And I was like, dang, while I'm eating this, I'm just thinking about all the things that these can do for my body. And I'm just thinking about all the things that these fruits can do for my body and how they can bless it. And I feel good when I'm praying about it, when I'm saying, oh, okay, I want this cucumber to bless my eyes, bless my skin, versus me eating, I don't know, an oxtail and being like, I want this oxtail to just bless me just because.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, even when we're down to blessing our food, being conscientious of even how you're blessing your food. Why are you, what nourishment is it really bringing to you? Do you know? Because it's definitely not going to be like the mashed potatoes and gravy, even though it's bomb.
Right.
Not every day.
Yeah. And like I said, like I've mentioned before on this podcast, there's so many tools at our hands for living a healthier lifestyle, specifically in terms of what you're putting in your body. Shout out to this Yuka app, YUKA, where you can literally barcode of whatever you're putting in your body, and it will pull up all the information about, hey, it has these carcinogens in it, you might want to watch out for that. Hey, it has these antigens in it, you might want to look out for that. It has such and such. You know, like there's too many tools for us to still have excuses going forward.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So
I agree.
Yeah, let's just move forward as a more conscientious community. Please, blacksmiths, because life is so precious, so
is.
fragile, and it is fleeting. You know what I mean? It's here today, gone tomorrow. That's biblical anyway. But we really just need to be conscientious about this stuff, because better health is at our hands. We just gotta reach up and grab it. We just gotta reach up and grab it.
I mean, really,
time for excuses is over. Now, I will say this, you know, a lot of our habits are culturally derived.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So if you grow up in a big bone family where they don't give a fuck about what they putting in your body, it's going to be hard, because you've been ingrained. It's been ingrained in your head to like, hey, this is just how we eat. You know what I mean?
Right.
But once you are of an age where you can make decisions for yourself and get out and do better, we gotta really press hard to do that. You know what I mean? It might be hard today to reverse your eating habits and pick up that kale salad instead of that macaroni and cheese. But over time, you know, the brain is like it's very malleable. Now, the older you get, the less it becomes. But it is malleable. You can reconfigure your brain to operate differently with repetition. Repetitively doing things again and again will reconfigure what you like and what you dislike. About sticking to it. Now, Coolio died of cardiac arrest. I don't know if we mentioned that earlier, which is why we, you know, are talking about health. You know what I mean? But there is some conspiracy around my brother's death. You know what I mean? And
that's what I've been hearing.
And it exists rightfully so. It exists rightfully so, because just 5 months earlier, my brother Coolio was on a platform talking about his paranoia about being sought after by those powers that be, because of what he was going through and noticing. And so I have this interview of his queued up right now. I'm going to play it for all those who are listening.
At a point right now in my life where it's a lot of shit I know that I want to tell people. It's a lot of things that I want to teach, but I'm afraid. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm scared, because I got 4 grandchildren, and I got children that are in this world. I got people I care about.
What's up, family? This is your man, not your boy, Go Black to Africa. So, you know, we got. Now, I know that many people may not believe in conspiracy theories or with all that stuff right there.
The video's about to
listen to this video.
A lot of shit
Now back.
I'm at a point right now in my life where it's a lot of shit I know that I want to tell people. It's a lot of things that I want to teach, but I'm afraid. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm scared, because I got 4 grandchildren, and I got children that are in this world. I got people I care about. And I got people that I care about that don't necessarily believe what I believe.
Yeah.
And I'm not. I have no fear of death, and I think that those that would oppose my beliefs, they've probably done enough. If somebody's after me, or if somebody's watching me, then they know enough about me to know that I have no fear of death. So killing me don't mean shit. It just confirms that what I said was true. But I do have a fear of them hurting my family. So I'm scared about certain things. I don't talk about everything I know, because I don't want nobody in my family to be hurt. You know what I'm saying? I don't want nothing to happen to my people. And if I owe them anything, I owe that to them. I owe them their lives, to be able to live their life and not be subjected to any type of harm because of something I did or said.
Yeah. So hold on.
You know, my oldest son did some time in prison, and he shouldn't have. It was his first offense, and I was going to court, and I seen people having cases that were way worse than his. and not even being their first offense, and them getting off. And they didn't have a better lawyer than he had. Some of them had fucking PDs, but they got off because whether they got off or not, it didn't, it didn't matter to the world now. Now, but by them doing what they did to my son, it made me kind of shut the fuck up. I stopped talking about what I was talking about at that time because I felt like I was being, and listen, I could be making this shit up in my head. It could be something. I realized that I will never know whether it's true or not. But just to make sure that it didn't happen again, I backed off. And now let me say, when I backed off, shit stopped happening. So I'm more inclined to believe that maybe I was right. Like I said, I can't say if it's true or not, but like I said, those things stopped happening to me. That kind of shit stopped happening to me. I stopped getting them weird messages. I stopped getting them weird emails. I stopped having that feeling of being watched. You know what I mean?
So I mean, there you have it. Well, he'll never know, and we'll never know. All we can do is speculate, but we can put the pieces together. And based on what he says he was talking about, he was a marked man. And I mean, and Joy, I hate to break it to you, but us just having this platform makes us targets. Joy, I'm sorry, I can't hear you. I don't know if that's just my end or if that's still can't. Hold on. Maybe it's me. Try speaking again. So we're experiencing some technical difficulties, blacksmiths, until we can get Joy's audio back up. I'll just keep talking and while we're kind of troubleshooting all of that. But we'll never know. We'll never know if Coolio was taken out intentionally or if this was just a coincidence. Now, he did die of a cardiac arrest, according to that. So it's pretty hard to make somebody have a heart attack. But I mean, shit. If somebody wants,
no, actually, it's not hard.
It's not.
No, it's not. And just talking about this, and we can wrap it up. But Michael Jackson, that was one of the biggest controversies around him about his doctor doing what he did. But that was all a setup. Michael Jackson knew that he was going to pass before he did. He had a whole conversation with Dick Gregory because he felt like he was being watched too. He said something along very, very, very similar to what Coolio is saying. He felt like he was being watched. Michael Jackson was very dehydrated before he passed because he didn't want to drink any liquids that were given to him because he felt like he was going to be poisoned. He had Dick Gregory bring him something to drink. So yeah, I heard what you said about it making us a target, and I realized that, but I have a due diligence to my community, and that doesn't scare me. I have to, because it's going to happen one way or another, and I'd rather speak up, and a few people heard me and became aware, heard us, than to have never said anything. Those people who passed, Coolio and so forth and so on and so forth, their words will always be remembered, revered.
Yeah. And as much, like I said, I'll be playing defense out here. And it's hard to come onto this show on a weekly basis and to speak more candidly than I do, generally speaking. But something in me just kind of rises up and out of me because I realize the responsibility that this platform has to first and foremost be truthful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because our community and our audience deserves that. You know what I mean? Whether it's a popular opinion or not, whether it's something that everybody agrees with, or to bring that to the forefront. Because if it can help advance our community, then it's my responsibility, regardless of the consequences that it might have on, this is worst case scenario, of course, on my life,
Right.
regardless of the consequences. This is the more of the lesser priority, but it is a priority, regardless of the impact that it can have on my work,
Right.
because my opinions are not very welcome in some workplaces or people.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? What we talk about on this platform can be deemed as just talking, but can be deemed as offensive by some people. But regardless of that, I have to speak on it because silence is getting us nowhere as a community, for one. It's getting us nowhere. So, and I'm so sick and tired of the state of things in this country, specifically in regard to my people, that I cannot bite my tongue. I cannot.
You shouldn't
I
have
won't.
to. Yeah.
And I won't.
Me neither.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, it's just so sad that our words are seen as threats, and those threats can be countered by somebody who wants to do us harm, like we see might be the case in Coolio's case, like we see that might be the case in Dr. Sebi's case,
right?
Like we see that might have been the case in Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. These people were taken out, and we have a history of our people being taken out for trying to do good for our community.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So just like there was a popular post going around, I think during the George Floyd riots, where it was like, hey, don't be ashamed for getting locked up for doing what is right. You join the ranks of MLK. You join the ranks of of Malcolm X. You join the ranks of Muhammad Ali. You join them as don't be ashamed of being imprisoned for doing what's right, because you are just one. You are now among the legends, of history, who have gone through the same thing. Nelson Mandela was jailed for doing the right thing. So we owe it to them, and we owe it to our community to do what is right.
Yeah,
we owe it.
That was touching. That moved me. Yeah,
I mean, this is powerful. I don't take this lightly.
Me neither.
I do not take this lightly.
Me neither. I wholeheartedly agree.
Yeah, man. Rest in peace to Coolio. You will be missed, brother.
Coolio.
We hope that you are now in gangster's paradise.
Yes, bro. We do.
Yeah. All right. So for our last topic, we want to touch on Hurricane Ian that has devastated the southeast United States. It hit landfall, or it hit maybe on Wednesday, maybe Tuesday, and it's ravaged parts of Florida and made its way northward into South and North Carolina. And in its path, it along with destroying thousands of homes and buildings, it's also claimed the lives of 77 people. That's the count.
Damn, it was 33 last time.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, and that's just the numbers as of right now. I'm sure that number is probably, unfortunately, going to grow.
Wow.
But they are saying that this is the strongest hurricane that has ever hit the United States, at least within recorded history.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So
wow.
It says a lot about the direction of climate change and where that's headed.
I read something interesting about hurricanes, actually, that's actually a fact, but I don't have the whole fact, so I'm just going to try and According to science,
Mhm.
the hurricanes' pathways are that of the slave trade. They say but a lot of people, ancient talk is that hurricanes are the spirits of black ancestor women, our black women ancestors, those who were in the slave trade. They say that it has a distinct path and it starts from Africa. They say every hurricane starts from Africa. Now, I could have read that incorrectly,
Mm.
but I'm pretty sure. Yeah. And
Wow.
so I thought, yeah, and they were saying that these are facts. I read this. I'm gonna have to next episode. I'm gonna really have to like spit it out again what it exactly says, because I was like, no way. No way. You know, a lot of ancient deities that are revered, like in African culture, they're really related to water. Like I know you've heard of Yamaya. Have you ever heard of her?
Yomaya? No, I have not.
Mhm. She's like the goddess of fertility, but she rules over bodies of water.
Okay.
She's considered to be an Orisha, which is an African deity or goddess. And so it is a lot of Orishas and goddesses that are African deities, and they are always, a lot of them correspond with water, which
Yeah.
is a very powerful element. So I was like, wow, like, you know, and they say that these hurricanes, you know, on the spiritual level, they come through to like clean up. So I
Yeah.
was like, wow. I'm like, that's crazy how they followed the same path. I'm gonna have to shoot the information to you and discuss
Yeah.
it.
I mean, I'm reading an article right now. I just typed in hurricanes and slave trade,
Mhm.
and there's an article in Forbes that talks about a connection between the two.
Mm.
This specific paragraph that I'm reading right now says, "quote Virgin Islands, 13 Virgin Islands, the 13th through the 16th of August 1793, reports of 28 of 42 slaves lost, with the additional loss of some crew on board the Bristol. There are also indications of 3 slave-bearing vessels from Africa also lost in this hurricane." Now, that's just a little snippet, but there's a Forbes article that talks about it. I can look it up and everything. But I mean, I'm a firm believer in, and this is just how the world works and how the universe works. But everything like, even scientifically speaking, energy is merely transferred into other energy.
Oh,
Energy that we put out just or dissipate is merely transferred into other energy. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So all the evil that our people have had to endure, it's coming back. It's coming back around it's coming back around to those who are rightfully owed it in return.
Right.
You know what I mean?
We will get our reparations. It doesn't have to be through the way that they think that we want. I want it in a whole different way, because if we really had to be paid reparations, everybody in this world that don't look like us would just have to be obsolete.
Right. I mean, it's gonna come back one way or another. You know what I mean? Yeah. It might not be in the same form, like we just said. It could just come in a financial way. I mean, hey, shit, give me my money. I'll take that all day.
Yeah, get a hurricane to wipe everybody else out but us.
Right. That could very well happen. Too. You know, at no fault of our own. Like the Bible says, the sins of the father will be repaid by the son.
Pay up.
So
you
know, that's just how the universe works.
Yeah.
So
I like that. That is truly energy transference.
Yeah. 1000%. So I mean, we pray for all those people who are being affected by these hurricanes. I looked up footage of some of this shit, and it's scary. It is truly scary.
It is.
I can't imagine being in a situation like that where not only my life is in danger, but my property, my home. You come back to your home and it is no longer there because it was swept away. Right, I mean, not only your home, but all the memories that are within that home, everything, man. So
Yeah.
it's a messed up situation, and my heart goes out to all those people.
Yeah, mine too.
You know, so you know, we're just lucky that we live here on the West Coast, where the only thing that we really have to worry about is earthquakes, and even that in itself, I say the only thing as if it ain't shit. But earthquakes are scary.
Right, yeah.
Earthquakes are scary, and I mean, not to be a pessimist, but by all scientific accounts, we are due for a very big one sometime very soon.
Are you serious?
Yeah, the last big one that I believe California has experienced in significance was the Northridge earthquake, which happened in '94. That's coming up on 30 years ago.
Wow.
I believe the statistics say that we have experienced a major earthquake every 20 years. So we're overdue. God help us and be with us for whatever is coming up down the line, because
Yeah.
that's definitely something that we have to deal with. Another issue that we might have to be dealing with sooner than later is a real big threat of water shortage. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't got water, you can survive without food for a long time.
Yeah.
You can't go more than a few days without water. So,
Yeah.
just like our people, our brothers and sisters out in Mississippi experience, even if there's not just a shortage of water, but a shortage of clean water that can totally fuck us up.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's
Blacksmiths,
purposeless. Yeah.
Blacksmiths, please play defense out there. Just be prepared. Stock your home up with bottled water. So just in case some shit goes down, if there's an earthquake that ruptures some pipelines and then all of a sudden we don't have any clean water, make sure that you have that on deck for yourself and your family.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. Good.
Right
That's
now
wonderful too.
I got cases of water up in here just in case. I don't touch them. I do not touch them. Those are for emergency only.
I heard that. Well, I know who house I'm gonna be driving to when I run out of mine.
Come through, sis. I got you.
Thank you.
We're gonna be all right. We're gonna be all right. So that brings us up to our vibe of the week. Joy, you got a vibe of the week?
I do. My vibe of the week. I wanted to welcome in Libra season. I love Libra season. I'm not a Libra, but I love Libras. They happen to be my opposite on the zodiac. They're my opposite in consciousness, so we balance each other. And with that season comes preparedness and, balance. Those are that sign is of balance and justice. And just making sure that things are proportionate, in life in general. And that you're being fair to yourself, treating yourself to luxuries, but not also going overboard. That's what kind of energy that brings. And also preparedness meets opportunity. That's another vibe of the week I was feeling. I had some good news come to me this week. I'm going to be a part of a creative production where I'll be singing and doing a little bit of poetry. So I'm excited. When I get the details, I'm going to shoot it to y'all. But I'm just like, wow, this is amazing, because I was supposed to be in this play before the pandemic hit and we had to cancel everything. And then the director just recently hit me up and was like, hey, what are you doing? What have you been up to? I would love to see if you would love to be a part of this. It's not the play, but it's something else. So just the fact that I'm like, okay, I've been staying low, been working on the low, been grinding, not pressuring myself too much, just knowing that I have a place to put this energy, and now it's opened up. So all I have to do is show up.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. COVID really did a number on everybody and everything, and put a lot of things on hold. So I'm glad to see, specifically in your life, that things are starting to, at least in with this in particular, things are starting to kind of get back to normal and start to resume.
Yes.
I love that. Good shit. Let us know when this play. Let us know when the premiere is, so that we can come out and support you.
I sure will. I'm gonna let y'all know, Blacksmiths.
Yeah.
What about you, Chris?
For my vibe of the week, it's really been a a vibe that I've been trying to focus on for the past probably 3 weeks, I would say a month.
Mm-hmm.
And, I was reflecting on it not too long ago, earlier this week. That's why it's the vibe of the week. This is a vulnerable topic for me, I suppose. But my vibe of the week is loyalty.
Okay.
I journal, and during a journaling session about a month ago, I was kind of hit with a deep realization that maybe this area of loyalty is not as strong in my life as it should be.
Yeah.
And so I've been really just trying to focus on being more loyal to my tribe, being more loyal to my family, being more loyal to people in my life.
I love
You
that.
know,
Yeah.
when you come to a realization, they always say to be a friend, you got to be a friend. Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me. To get a friend, to gain a friend, you have to be a friend.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Meaning that the energy that you want, you got to put out there.
Absolutely.
And, in realizing that, I feel that there's a lack of loyalty in my life, I have to look not at the people on the outside, but I got to look at am I putting out a energy of loyalty?
Mm.
And so I'm just trying to focus in on that. I'm trying to focus in and make that a priority going forward. Not in terms of just like doing people wrong, but in terms of being consistent in people's lives. I'm such an individual and such an introvert that I can tend to kind of just go off and be on my own for long periods of time.
Yeah, y'all go into hibernation and be okay. And it don't be having to do with nobody else, but yeah.
Yeah, and so I think maybe somewhere along the lines, maybe that sends the wrong message to people.
Yeah,
and so I'm trying to just reverse that. I'm trying to come out of my shell. I'm trying to check in on people. If you want people checking in on you, then you got to check in on people. So I'm trying to do a better job of that. As y'all know, I'm not a great texter. It's just not something I'm good at. But I'm trying. I'm trying to get better. So
well, you know what? You are doing it. You are doing it.
Yeah.
You're doing it. You're not trying. Yeah.
I appreciate you.
You got the support from your blacksmiths. This can teach us all something. Maybe there's certain things we haven't been loyal to in our lives, not just people, but maybe there's something that we want out of something in life, but we're not giving that dedication and that time and that consistency, giving loyalty in those aspects. So that's an eye opener for all of us. And honestly, that's really nice that you're even that aware to think beyond that. Like, oh, okay, y'all not thinking about me? Well, what am I putting out?
Right. Yeah, I mean, journal. That's why I journal, because it allows me to really reflect on myself, and it allows me more than anything. History is such an important thing. Historical bookkeeping, if you will, because it allows you to like go back and see like, oh, there's a trend here. I'm looking at my own patterns and my own the reoccurrences happening in my life, and it's like, okay, well, maybe I can fix some of that. You know what I mean? So yeah, I was able to reflect on that, and like we just covered, the energy you put out there is going to come back. Yeah. So make it some good energy. Make it good.
Make it worth it.
Make it good.
Yeah.
Make it good. We sow seeds for trees that we will one day sit underneath.
Right.
So, if you want a shaded tree, you better plant some good seeds.
Right.
You don't want to be sitting out here in the scorching sun. So plant seeds that are going to provide you with shade later in the future.
Exactly. Yes. Setting a strong foundation.
Right.
I love it.
Yeah. So I appreciate y'all, blacksmiths. I appreciate you, Joy, our beautiful co-host. LJ, I appreciate you for producing this segment, this podcast, and a special shout out. We appreciate Duran for coming on and joining us for the first half of this episode. And yeah, we will
We
see
appreciate
you guys
you,
next
Chris.
week. We appreciate you back, Joy. Thank you so much. Thank you, Blacksmiths out there, for tuning in to another episode of The Bronze Room.
The Bronze Room.
We still live, LJ?
LJ, you go to sleep. Change
Yeah,
clothes.
You still there?
All right, LJ, where you at? Where you at? Where you
He might
at?
have stepped away from the computer. It's all
Right,
good, though. I'm sure when he puts this episode out, he'll be able to cut this part out.
right.
I'm sure we're live streaming on a couple of platforms, but it's all good.
Cool.
Yeah. I'm glad that we were able to get this episode down and everything. I felt really good about it. Having
Me
Devon on
too.
was really, really nice.
Yeah.